Todd, Menard, what's going on, Todd? Tell us what's going on in the market, buddy.
Well, good morning, Mike. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Today's market stats are for Monday, May 4th, and the week preceding. Let's get right into it. 44 days closed on market this past week, just under a 2-month supply. We're eating up 50%, just over 50% of our inventory on a monthly basis. Average list prices were almost 573, just right under 573. Average sale price at 354, and our list price to sale price retention is at 98.25. Looking at inventory across the board, inventory for the second week in a row has begun to shrink again. There we go, begun to shrink again. And again, pending units are up significantly over where they were in the last 30 days. So again, this is some strong signs that people are still in the marketplace. And more are joining. Closing units for the month, we'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. Looking at new listings, we took 1,777. That's not anywhere near what we need, but again, a strong showing, almost 10% more than it was the week before. Days on market for active inventory is sitting about 147 days, and for closed, look at that, 44 days on market. Taking a look at our price ranges again, the market, the inventory is stabilizing a little bit as far as going back to more stereotypical. Under 500,000 is typically about 72%. So we're at 70. Our 500 to $1 million market is typically at 20. And again, we're pretty much on point there. Our $1 million and up inventory sitting at roughly 10%. Taking a look at our spreadsheet, one of the things that we've done, again, we're going to have our month-end numbers for the month of April. I'm going to show you a couple of insights into what's actually taken place, because it's, again, the last year, Mike, this has been pretty anomalous. I mean, all of the different things, it's just destroyed the supply and demand curve as far as what we know it, and the things that normally take place when you have limited inventory, and we're just not seeing that. So again, if we take a look just as a comparison, our inventory is up about 7%, new listings taken week over week. Last year, same period, just in reference, the gray bar in the center, we took 2,216 units. So again, you can see the difference is about 20% off. Take a look at active inventory. We're sitting at 14,000, just over 14,000. We were at 14,350 last week. Last year, same period, same week last year, we were at 17,800 properties. So we're down about 3,000. The single family detached obviously makes up most of that, and it's in line following with the increases and decreases in the inventory, sitting at 11,220. But of those 11,200, 1,700 are new builds. So those are properties that are in our MLS that the builder has someone marketing or an agent is marketing. So again, a little bit of insight into that. Pending is up, as I said, just a little bit, over 4,866 last week. Last year, though, we were at 6,375 this time. So again, this is about 20% off. So if we're 20% off here, and we're 20% off with our new listings, and we're averaging 20% off with our active inventory, everything is consistent. To use the number in the marketplace, the market's about 20% off right now. Taking a look at closed inventory, again, actually I did skip that. We're going to talk about that when we get to month end, but looking at the statistical information, under 2%, a 2-month supply is what we're sitting with right now. That is down a little from 2.26. Last year, we were at 2.76. Remember that the rule of thumb way over the left is a 3-month supply. Not that the reasoning for that is if you're under 4, you're in a seller's market. But yet you're not in a market that's putting pressure on sale prices. When you get down under 2 months supply or even under a month and a half supply, that is really where you start to see the sellers just not giving anything up. They're holding firm. They don't allow concessions in addition to discounts. So again, what we're seeing right now is just the inventory being about a month supply faster than it has been year over year. Average sale prices, again, 572 is what we're up to right now, 354. But if you take a look at our April 27th last week and even sliding your eyes across to the other side, what you're seeing is it's been as high as 370, 378 even. So when you're at 354, this is indicative, and this is how you use this sheet to explain to the sellers and buyers what's happening in the marketplace. We're not in a boom where the prices are not taking off. Sure, I'm sure there's markets or pockets or niches where that is occurring, but if we're looking at the entire general Metro Phoenix marketplace, that is not occurring. We're sitting at 354. So again, we are not seeing prices being pushed too hard. Looking at the active days on market, 146 is about what we're averaging. Not much new there. About 5 days off from last year. Not enough to write home about. The days on market for sold at 44 is really brisk. Typically, now, so far in the last couple of months of 2020, we've been averaging about 50, 55 days. So it's about 10 days brisker than it has been in the marketplace. So, you know, from a seller's perspective, that's a good thing. That means that sellers' properties are still selling and still moving. And again, these numbers, remember, you know, last month we were saying, oh, it's not much really affecting us. But what we didn't take into consideration as far as conversation was concerned is the fact that what we do this month shows up the end of next month. And so as a result, we were really reporting on the prior month of February when we're talking about April numbers. When we look at sale price retention, again, this is indicative of whether a seller is getting more tight from their list price or if they're still willing to do an average negotiation. And what is that? Well, way over to the left, it's 97.8 retention, which means it's a 2.2 average. About 2% is what a seller's usually giving up between the list price and the contract price at the time the contract's accepted. So these are the types of things that are important when it comes to understanding, is there still flexibility in the market, and where's the seller's mindset? When this goes up above 98, significantly into the 99, or even at 100, we even had a couple of weeks where it's been over 100. What that basically means is the seller's just not giving anything up. They are just sticking to their guns. And this isn't one seller. This is the trend in the marketplace, the perspective of sellers market-wide. So again, looking at the month-over-month numbers, we are looking at April, and in comparing April to March, and this is what gives us the ability to see differences, is that comparison. So we look at, we closed out with 9,200 new properties added to the marketplace. And basically that was about 18% lower than we took the month prior in March. So that was a little significant. But that was, again, 18.4, that's very close to 20%. 17,474 properties, and we ended with on average in the MLS during the month of April. We were only at 15,000 in the month of March. So we added properties. We added almost 3,000, 2,500, 2,600 properties to the MLS in the last 6 weeks. This is good, and it's also setting us up for the market coming back as America gets back to work, as Phoenix, you know, the consumer confidence about going back to work really starts to sink into the minds of the consumers. Then you're going to see a rush on these properties, and I believe the market's going to come back strong. Maybe a little stronger, but I don't think it's going to stay strong. It'll just be a recovery boom period, if you would. Taking a look at pending, 4,762 is where we were. We normally, last year, we averaged 6,700 pending units. And this means at any point in time, you take a look at all the properties that are in escrow. You know, we're at 4,700. That's down year over year, 30%. But more importantly, just month over month, here's where the anomalies begin. We're only 9% off. You know, when you're 20% off in all the other categories, you're only 9% off in pending. That's a strong sign for what closes are going to happen at the end of this month and also at the end of next month. So taking a look at closings, we're at 7,140 for the closed out April. You know, 9,660 is where we were last year, because if you recall, last month is the month that the market takes off for the summer months. Typically, when the people want to move, while their children are out of school, before they take their vacation from their company, if they've been relocated, all those same things apply. So we look at average. Last month we closed 8,860, and that was in the green. That was a 4.4% increase. Obviously, I didn't change the ticker from green to red, but we were at we dropped to 7140s, and so this was the indicator. And we look above, it's 19.4%. There's your 20%. This is just that same situation that's just saying to people out there, yeah, you know, there are some fewer people in the marketplace, and so it's causing us not to be able to close as many properties. And of course, we've all experienced, there's been some appraisal issues with people, with the appraisers putting in a market adjustment of $3,000 to $5,000, which is just totally uncalled for. And this yet has not affected the values of properties anywhere that I'm aware of in the United States. As far as the 9660 last month, again, you can see just that trend and what's taking place. So it was only about 19% off even from last month to this month. And normally we're a 13% increase month over month. So there, you take a look at what's happening in those numbers. Taking a look at the days on market, we closed at 2.45 last month. That's awesome. If we're between 2 and 3 months supply, again, this is a good position for buyers in the market and sellers trying to sell. That's basically saying both parties are doing fair negotiations, and really, to the person who's the better negotiator is the winner in this particular situation. We finished last month at the month before of March, we finished at 1.68 months supply. So 2.45 last month was a significant slowdown, which is what is helping us increase our inventory. Looking at our average sale prices, again, we did reach 581,000 last month as the high point in our average list prices. But slide your eyes to the right. In March, we were at 653,000. So again, a lot of fluctuation, and that's because of what I'm about to show you. The next section is dealing with days on market. Again, not a lot of change there. Just again, when you get into that 30 to 40 day median days on market, or 50 days worth of average, you're talking about a very, very brisk market, which should average about 70 days on market. Sale price retention, I think we've already admonished that concept, and what's going on there is just the fact that the sellers are still negotiating. So when you go in, you put an offer in, or your seller does, or buyer does, it is reasonable to consult them that the market is not yet changing. They don't really have to go in above list to make this happen. If they want the property, a full list price offer should obtain it, because the average is they're still negotiating just about 2% in the marketplace. So here's what I wanted to tell you about that on this next slide, kind of a little expansion for you based on price range. So this is the first time we've had this conversation in the 7 years I've been doing this. And I can tell you that the issues here are just very observed. You can see it. So we're going to start on the left side under active listings, and we're going to see that basically when you see a minus and you're in double digits, what you're seeing is that market has been affected, reduced by that number, that percentage. So when you see like the 100 to 119,000, 100 to 120 market, it's down 23%. And again, you can see the sales numbers are right there. So I wanted to provide you with this 20 over 19 as well. And then it also shows this month and then year to date. But it tells you the story. Look at that, 34.7, 40%. The price range between 180 and 200,000 is the largest affected price range. But the overall price ranges of 100 to just about 250 are all double-digit losses. So in other words, where the market is shrunk. Now, hold that thought. Slide your eyes to the right. Let's talk about solds. Look at the percentages and the difference between the change on the left in the red and the change on the right in the gold. Those same marketplaces, that same 100 to 120 market we talked about being 23 off is closing almost 30% fewer properties. So again, there's some stories to be told in that between active listings and sold, but we're not looking at what's on the bottom. So if we go to the next slide, we see the fact that, okay, these are markets that so here's what I'm saying to you, from $250,000 basically to $1 million is hardly being affected at all. And the price ranges between 250 and 300 are the highest affected at 10% off. If you're looking at $300,000 to $400,000 properties, they're only 3% off. And we're talking about the number of active listings here. We're not talking, so in other words, there's still plenty of properties in those price ranges to look at. And we slide our eyes to the right, we look at closings, and a very, very, this is really the anomaly again. Look at this, 250 to $1 million. If you look there, they're all up. The price ranges from 750 to $1 million are up 60% in closings. 60% more properties are closing in the 750 to a million price range than had been closing prior to COVID. So this is where you have to show the consumer, if they're in that 250 to 300,000 market, it's competitive because there's 20% more properties closing in that price range. So again, it helps you explain that. So this last slide right here is one, go to the next one, please. This next slide right here is the pendings. So this is telling what's going to happen next month. We got to see that. Thank you. This is telling us what we will see happening next month in our closings. So right now, pending units between 100,000 and 250,000. Basically, you can see that they're all about 30% off in that range as far as pending. So there's 30% less people looking at those houses than there had been. What is this saying to us? It's teaching us the demographic that we need to go after. You know, if you look at the 250 to $1 million price range, all of those are positive double-digit gains. So if you're marketing a $90,000 to a $250,000 house, you got 20% less people, 30% less people paying attention to that price range than if you were to $250,000 to $1 million market. You've got 20%, 15 to 20% more people looking at properties and going on to escrow than we've had previously. So those slides you may need to take another look at to really absorb and internalize and comprehend what we're saying. But what we're saying is the market is still exceptionally strong when you're dealing above $200,000 to $350,000, $400,000. There is an increase in the business from that perspective. So thank you very much. That's the stats for this week. And if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of us.
All right. Appreciate it as always, Todd. Great information.